right. Well, it's so nice to be here. So I'm here with Professor Avner Schlessinger, and I'm excited to introduce you to the SLC13A5 research community and to our whole community. So can you explain a little bit about how you became involved with TESS Research Foundation?
Sure. First, thank you, Tanya, for the invitation and for the opportunity to talk with you and the TESS community. Um, so a little bit about how I started working on SLT13A5. So I'm a computational structural biologist, and I'm interested in how proteins work and function. And I've been working on SLC13 family for a few years, just because they work in a very cool way, the way they transport solutes across membranes. And then at some point, and I've been working with a colleague who's also a TESS community member, Dr. Anna Pejor. And she mentioned to me a few mutations that have been identified in patients. And at the time, we would try to model the structure of the human SLC13A5 so we can better understand how they cause disease. So we started modeling the protein, and we learned a lot about what the mutations do to the protein. At some point, we wanted to move forward and develop small molecule that can potentially serve as future drugs. And this is where my direct involvement with TESS has started.
Great. Well, thank you. It sounds like, you've been really involved in the SLC13A5 community for a long time, and I know your publications speak to that. And your work has been so helpful and, in building blocks as we work towards drug discovery. And so thank you for all the work that you have done. And can you explain, you mentioned about continuing, moving forward. Can you explain your current SLC13A5 research project?
Yeah. So what we try to do, in my lab, we use three-dimensional structures of proteins to design drugs. We call it rational drug design. And we use a variety of computational methods, AI, and we work with experimental labs to make potential of future drugs. With SLC13A5, there were recent discoveries, actually by TESS community members such as David Sawyer and Daneng Wang, that they were able to determine the three-dimensional structure of this protein. So in my lab, what we try to do, we try to develop small molecules, or these are small organic molecules, that can potentially serve as drugs by improve the function of SLC13A5, especially the variant, the structure of the variant protein. So what we do, we have the ability using AI and computational methods to virtually screen millions, and now we can screen billions of compounds and predict those that might have an effect on the protein. So now what we try to do, we try to find small molecules that can correct the activity of SLC13A5 using this approach together with other TESS community members.
Great, thank you. So it sounds, if maybe I can take a swing at summarizing it in one sentence, you're using AI to develop small molecule therapeutics that then you test using collaborators, and you see if you can improve the SLC13A5, the protein function. And this is really important for our patient community. It's important, an important step in helping our patient community. So thank you. So what really inspires you to contribute your time and skills to a disease like SLC13A5 epilepsy?
So, the dream of every scientist is that their, scientific interests have biomedical impact. They can have direct impact of patients. And, I was very interested in SLC13 as a family, the way they work, the structure, the function. It was very cool. But it's not the same when it's much more meaningful when you see that it can have biological impact and biomedical impact. And when I was introduced to the community and I learned about the disease-related genetic variations, how it affects patients, how it affects families. It provided additional motivations to develop, future drugs. And, it's very hard to develop drugs, but the hope is that we can at least make small discoveries that will allow, us and or someone else in the community develop drugs. And also, I work in my lab, we have students and postdocs, and there is a medical doctor in my lab, Paul Morgan, who was also very inspired by this, and he wanted to work on this project.
That's great. That's such a sweet spot where there's something really interesting scientifically, and it's also the work is so important to a patient community that is nice when those two aspects kind of merge together. So that's fantastic. And then kind of building on that, from your perspective, really what's the most pressing or one of the most pressing challenges or opportunities facing the SLC13A5 community in terms of scientific research and development?
So I'm more familiar with the drug development process, and developing a drug is very expensive and lengthy process. It's very complicated. Most things don't work. So I think, and there are different aspects of drug development. So we focus on small molecules, but other members of the community focus on model systems. So we can, for example, test the compounds in efficient and also biomedically relevant way. So I think there are many challenges throughout the process of drug development. Personally, for what we do in my lab, the chemical space of drugs is huge. It's very hard to find the molecule that will hit your favorite protein and will have a desired effect and will not be toxic. So our challenge is, and I'll give you an example, the chemical space of all potential drugs is 10 to the 60. And this is more than the stars in the sky, more than sand pieces in Earth. And I told my daughter recently, it's more than all data ever deposited to TikTok. So, which is 10 to the 18. So our challenge is how to screen these things effectively and find the molecules that will have an effect. Almost every molecule we try to screen doesn't work. How do you find the right one? Yeah, so I think that's the biggest, my challenge.
Yeah. Well, thanks for putting that in perspective. That is really helpful. But I think also something else that you said, you mentioned the incremental progress. And just because these things are really, really hard, you still have to try, and every step is really making progress. And I think that's something that really comes out from your work and how collaborative you are, and that you're using AI and you're collaborating with so many other labs to continue making progress and taking what you learn from your lab and expanding it and sharing it. So it gives a lot of hope with the research progress and the collaboration. I think that's coming out too. So thank you so much for sharing everything that you've shared about your work and about how you got involved with TESS Research Foundation. And we're excited to keep you involved and to support your work. And is there anything else that you want to share?
Yeah, maybe one last thing that I'm very excited to share, to work with TESS community. It's been absolutely wonderful, to you, Tanya, and Kim, and all the team that connects us. It really facilitates having much better science. Currently, the science is very multidisciplinary. No one can do things by themselves. Each field is very specialized. If we don't work together, the discoveries are not going to be, as meaningful or as quick as we want them. So your team really help connect us with really outstanding researchers, and so I really enjoy doing this. And also the connection with the patients gives us motivation, and we can better explain what we are doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I hope the rest of our TESS community enjoys this as well. All right.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.